Pesachim Daf Kuf is a short daf discussing the sugya of whether or not you're allowed to eat before Shabbos or Yom Tov. How close to Shabbos or Yom Tov are you allowed to eat? And if you do start eating, do you have to stop? So it's a machlokes Rabbi Yosi and Rabbi Yehuda. That much we know. We know that Rabbi Yehuda says that you aren't supposed to eat, and Rabbi Yosi says you are supposed to eat. The question is, what part of the day is a machlokes and which Yom Tov is a machlokes? The Yom Tov, the two issues as far as which Yom Tov are, is it every Shabbos in Yom Tov, or is it only Erev Pesach? That's one question. Erev Pesach is far more likely that there would be an Isser to eat before Pesach begins, close to Pesach, in order that we should have appetite for the matzah. And the other question is, what exactly is the issue? What's the halacha before Plaga Mincha, or close to Plaga Mincha, meaning before the 9th or 9th and a half hour in the day? What's the halacha after that time, but before Shkia? And what's the halacha if you began and now it's Shkia? What are you supposed to do? Do you have to stop at Shkia or not? So we've seen these three zones. We've seen these two Yomim Tovim. We know that there is most definitely a machlokes between Rabbi Yosi and Rabbi Yehuda about eating on other Shabbos and Yom Tovim, not Erev Pesach. Between Plag and Shkia, that's definitely a machlokes. Rabbi Yehuda says that it's aser, and Rabbi Yosi says that it is permitted. The question is, what exactly do they hold about Erev Pesach? So we'd seen a Mishnah that seems to say that there is only an Isser on Erev Pesach and not any other Shabbos and Yom Tov. Now, if that would be Rabbi Yehuda, that wouldn't make sense because he holds that there is an Isser every Shabbos and Yom Tov. So the Gemara wants to say that must be Rabbi Yosi, and you see from there that Rabbi Yosi holds that there is an Isser on Erev Pesach to eat before Yom Tov begins. So the Gemara says that that's problematic because we have a quote of Rabbi Yirmiyah, named Rabbi Yechanan, possibly by Rabbi Avo, and the name of Rabbi Yosi Rabbi Chanina. But he says as follows: whoever it is, the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda on Erev Pesach, and the halacha is like Rabbi Yosi on Erev Shabbos. Now, the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda on Erev Pesach. Sounds like there's a machlokes on Erev Pesach. Sounds like the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda as opposed to Rabbi Yosi. So how could you tell me that Rabbi Yosi agrees, and that's pshat in the Mishnah that says that on Erev Pesach you're not allowed to eat before Yom Tov, close to Yom Tov after Plag? It's not true. Here we see clearly that Rabbi Yosi argues and the halacha is not like him. So Gemara says not necessarily. The halacha might, this where we say that the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, we're not necessarily referring to whether or not you're allowed to start eating. Could be everybody agrees you're not allowed to start eating just before Yom Tov. The question is, if somebody is eating already, does he have to stop when Yom Tov arrives? That could mean that he started eating before Plag Mincha when he was allowed to. And now he's continuing, and it comes Yom Tov. Does he have to stop eating now or not? That's another machlokes Rabbi Yosi and Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says he has to stop, and Rabbi Yosi says he does not. And there, the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda that you do have to stop, at least according to these Amoraim. So the Gemara brings an incident. The Gemara says that there was a story with Rav Shimon ben Gamliel and Rabbi Yosi that were sitting together and eating in Akko, and Yom Tov began, or Shabbos began, and Rav Shimon ben Gamliel said, should we stop to keep the halacha like Rabbi Yehuda that you're supposed to stop when Shkia arrives? So he said, I don't understand. All the time, you're machshiv my words even to Rabbi Yehuda. Now, you want to keep Rabbi Yehuda's halacha even in front of me? So it's lichboisham es hamalka imi babayis. You want to capture the queen with me in the house, meaning right in front of me. You want to take the halacha against me. So he said, okay, you're right. We're not going to be machmer for Rabbi Yehuda. We don't want the talmidim or sitting around and think that that's halacha l'maisa. I was just saying maybe we should be machmir like Rabbi Yehuda because what do we have to lose? But you're right. The talmidim will learn the wrong halacha. Therefore, we shouldn't. We're going to keep your halacha. We'll keep eating straight. Okay, now getting deeper into this sugya here, we now have a machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yosi. What are you supposed to do if you're eating a Suda and Shabbos begins? So the understanding we have so far is that Rabbi Yehuda says you have to stop. You can't eat at all. And Rabbi Yosi says you can just continue, finish your Suda, do whatever you want, and you make Kiddush after the Suda. Rabbi Yehuda would be saying stop, you should end the Suda, make Kiddush, and you start a new Suda. So Gemara says that Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, the Amayra, says that the halacha is like neither of them. We don't do either of those. What we do is we stop. We don't end the Suda, we stop, we cover the chalas, we make Kiddush in the middle of the Suda, and then we continue. Not like Rabbi Yehuda who says you have to stop and start, you have to end the Suda and start a new Suda, and not like Rabbi Yosi who says you could just finish the Suda and then make Kiddush after the Suda. Now, the Rishonim explained that how could the Amira paskin differently than either of these? So he would say that he really holds the kula. Like Rabbi Yosi, that you can make a Kiddush after the Suda, he just wants to be machmir and make Kiddush in the middle of the Suda, not wait until the end, not continue the Suda stam. The Gemara asks Akasha, how can you tell me that's what Shmuel holds? We have a different maimer of Shmuel, quoted by someone else, quoted by Rav Tachlifa bar Avdimi, and he says that just like you have to stop when it comes Havdalah time, if you're in the middle of a meal, Shabbos ends, you also have to stop when Shabbos begins and you're in the middle of a meal. So that would seem to indicate that Shmuel doesn't hold that you could just cover the chalas and continue the meal. He's saying you have to stop. So Gemara says, no, it doesn't. When he says he has to stop, it doesn't mean you have to stop in the Suda and you can't continue. It just means you have to stop and cover the chalas. Just like Shmuel had said, you have to stop and cover the chalas, not a problem. Okay, now the Gemara brings a story here. The Rishonim dispute what exactly is meant to be understood from this and what exactly it says. But what it says is as follows. It's Rabbi bar Rav Huna went to the house of the Reish Galusa. They brought a table to him, and he covered the chalas and made the kiddush. So the simplest understand, and then it says, and there's a brisa that supports that. The question of what the girsa here is, but it says you shouldn't bring a table unless you made kiddush already, and if you did, cover the chalas. So the Rashbam's understanding is that it's talking about where they didn't make kiddush yet. And the Rabbi bar Rav Huna's shita is that you're not supposed to bring the table until after kiddush. But they didn't listen to him. They brought the table, and therefore he covered the chalas, and that's just like removing the table, and then he made kiddush. And that's what the Bryce is supporting, that you shouldn't bring a table. And if you do bring the table, then you should cover it, and then you can make kiddush. The other understanding in the Rishonim here is that this is referring to in the middle of the Suda, and it means to say you're not supposed to start a Suda. And if you do start the Suda, like for example, you started before Plag, or you're holding like a B'yasi and it's not Erev Pesach, it's Erev Shabbos, and you're allowed to start the Suda before Shkia. But either way, you're in the middle of the Suda and then Shkia arrives, so then you should be Paris Mappa, and that was the story with Rabbi bar Rav Huna. He was Paris Mappa, he covered the chalas in the middle of the Suda. Okay, the Gemara now goes back to the machlokes between Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda, and the Gemara says an interesting quotes a brisa that says that we have two versions of the brisa, but not sure which one is right. This brisa says that there's a case in which Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda agree. Either they both agree that there's a time when you cannot start a Suda, or you both agree that there was a time when you could start a Suda. So Gemara says, well, which is it? According to the Brisa, that's the version that says that everyone agrees you cannot start a Suda, so there is such a case. Erev Pesach. We said everybody agrees Erev Pesach, you can't start a Suda. Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda agree on Erev Pesach. But if everybody agrees you could start a Suda, where do you see Rabbi Yehuda agreeing you could start a Suda? There's no such thing. So Gemara says it's referring to before Plag HaMincha, before Plag, or at least before half an hour before Plag, you're allowed to start a Suda.